Welcome to Wickerson Studios on Saturday morning. I have gone over the deep end with Grasshopper. I must admit, I dropped out of math and computers when I was about 22 in my, I guess it would be my junior year at the University of Waterloo, and then I made a lot of things for about 30 years. Well, now that the technology's there, I never would have thought I'd be back playing around scripting in Python with the basic skills I've learned from a library book I picked up for my kids. Let's take a look at this. Even though this is back to the basics, I'm starting to think that back to the basics is starting with points, going into ranges, putting sets into there, introducing your own functions, and finding your own way to program. So what I have here is basically a script that I've written. I'll try and make it clear up here. I pulled in a Python node that has an input and it has an output. I don't even use the A output. The A output just tells me the digit that's coming in. I'm using the actual print output in a sense of data. So I'm able to bring out numbers and decide where and when in a series of things can I pull out these digits. So I've basically made a script that generates, well, maybe you don't know. Basically generates here, this one, 418 scalable values because of the script written inside of it. The script written inside of it is pretty dry, and I'm playing with it. I came over here and I don't know if I can make this smaller. I came over here and I basically said, all right, I'll have a pattern. I'll write a function that says, okay, k is a number that is equal to n, n being for I in range n of -1, start, set, stop, or count, and then for j, these are basic patterns that you can build, pyramids with asterisks online in your print function. But I thought, no, I'll just decide scalable values while I do this and work with a mesh sphere. So I basically wrote these kind of iterations as they go through so I could get 4 different values. Simple script. Once I figured that one out, I could play with it. So let's take that little script and pop it down here. That's what comes out from it. I basically, this one's out of the way, and if I plug in all these values and then I put those through the same series of numbers of grafted points, and I say, okay, on each one of those points, as they come out, put on these scalable values at centroid, and you'll have a mesh. That's it. Like it made a mesh. And geometrically, that's just something that's so basically bet on script on spheres in a gridded pattern. But there's the little script that I had to work with it. So what I did then was I took all my values and said, okay, I'm going to cut and paste all those, put them into another script, and now go into here and say, this is a totally different simple pattern. This is the one I did first to get things going. And you can find these online. They're so simple. Just find basic patterns, printing patterns for what you do, but make it geometric. Take that data and start to manipulate geometries from that coded data. I have no instruction on this. I have no tutors. I have the internet. This is all just kind of coming from going deeper and deeper into Grasshopper. But these will be applied to little snippets, and I'll keep these little these little functions around in Python to do manipulations in my own kind of way. So this one's just multiplying, and I only stayed with a couple of iterations, so it actually comes a little smaller. So what I had to do in that script after I ran that one was I had to do a little bit of a multiplier. I thought I had to do a multiplier. No, I just had to realize that the numbers were going to run out in the count from 400 points. I'm only influencing 145. So I'm thinking of calling out randomly reducing and doing things with this. But like I said, it's almost like not knowing what people have done in the past, or not going through a course or program. You can be extremely creative with this. You can go into here, and it has effects on geometry. The next one is closer to the first script. So I'll bring that one over. And you can see that that one with this script is very closely written, but you've played with a little bit of these numbers. You've done a multiplier. And so I started to see similarities in this. Just like working in Node script, I thought, okay, well, I'll change around a little bit of these patterns. I'll put pluses here, minuses here. I found some other scripts online that matched it. So that was easy to do. So what happens when you go from this script, if you actually look at this original script, which comes out as this, I'm able to take that and transfer it into this one. And then I did it again by changing a number. But I realized if I'm just going to go in and keep changing the numbers on these scripts up here. And I was going 2, 3, leaving it at 1. I was like, well, I'll just put a variable in for that and add another variable to my Python script. And this starts making a lot of sense to me. So then I can just take this script, I can have it set it to, but if I want to have more control over that multiplication factor, this is just like working in functions and sine, but I'm actually working in iterations. And you could go in and use hoopsnake and nominee, which are iteration uh, uh, plugins that actually work. Why not do it in the simplest way of how you see on all those coding examples of how to learn almost every program, using range function? Because that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going in using the range function up in a nodal script. I'll just use the range function in a scripted script. And like I said, I never would have thought I'd be pushed back to this. I left math when it was Maple and C and Pascal at the University of Waterloo. So you can watch the changes of this. As I change that iteration, I've actually gained some geometric control. And it's similar to like having a slider on a node that they give you. But instead of having to write a whole darn script of the whole thing, it's just this Python node influencing the most basic of things, which is a mesh, sphere set along a gridded series of points. So you almost could write this script into the Python script, but I don't mind having it visually here so I can think about it to change the transformations that I want to apply to this. Basically, it's data. That's all I'm generating is a series of data that comes out in pattern, and I didn't want to have it all jittered and random. I actually wanted to have some control over that. So what a great little thing. So you grab it and you bake it, pretty simply. I have to come over here, grab a bake, and we'll throw that one into this one. Get that one out of the way, haul that one up. Maybe I should haul it back, actually. Let's shrink it out and just haul it back on that front. There we go. Let's come back into the iteration. It was at 6. I'll put it down at 5. It should change what was happening there, I believe. Not much of a change. Let me go back down to 4. There we go. It's a little more of a change. But subtle little geometric changes, maybe to a cityscape or something architectural. Very interesting to play with. I should have probably gotten into using the mesh of my skeleton. And you can see how complex it can get very quickly. Go back in, and I know I'm just playing around here, but how simple can geometries be by making a slider slide from 4 to 3, and you've written a pretty decent customized script for whatever nonsense your mind dreams up. Very excited in a few minutes of showing this. It's almost like, I'm not even writing this. I'm just putting together little snippets of information from basic Python scripting patterns. There's an infinite amount, obviously, being a number system. Let's go into here and change to 2. There we go. We're getting pretty organized in the pattern. And I know this is a little boring, but there's a little bit of a change in what you've done, and then you still have the final iteration. I'm not sure. I'll go back to the original one that was kind of reflective of what I was thinking of doing. There it is. Actually, maybe not that one. That was a little too patterny. That's the one that I originally came up with. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Well, we'll take this little pattern. We'll throw it in here. We'll close out the Python scripts. There must be something else that's in here. What a nice little script to play with. And then yeah, it's I'm not sure what I'll even have here. Let's just take a look. Little subtle changes in we'll do artistic mode. Takes a second. There it is. We'll leave that script. Not sure why it came out orange. There it is. Nice little kind of patterns that I never would have made. I can send to a 3D printer. I can press into sand molds. I can start generating these as tiles and multiples. I'm not sure the application of this, but I certainly know the world has a way of marketing and selling and promoting things. I'm very happy with what I've discovered by the Python node, and it will allow me to see some other tutorials by people working in C and VB script and having a little more sensitivity to what's really being done by coding in its essence of what scripting is. Thanks for watching.